The other one will have a second chance, but the second series of the day, one of the two teams that lose are out. They're not going to have any more chances to go through. So it's some do or die situations coming through today, and I'm keen to see how it pans out. Again, Execration, they just went down from Division 1, so it's honestly a bit of a surprise to see them in these qualifiers at all. You would have to say, as a casual viewer, they're probably the ones that are, they got their noses in front in terms of favoritism, but
Storm
UDV, they
Spirit.
looked pretty damn strong yesterday.
Yeah, that they
Yesterday?
did.
Day before.
Uh, I'm trying to remember
It
now.
was
Yeah,
yesterday.
we've had two. It was yesterday. Yeah, where
Yeah.
they played against Patriots, a 29-minute victory along with a 40-minute victory. But they are back into their hoodwink with the Sand King. Execration took the Dragonite away from them. It's very similar almost. We got DK Mirana, Sand King hoodwink. I do like this adaptation though for UDV. They've recognized that Execration rely on these long duration stuns, and the Abaddon's a great way to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, we saw in the series against Motivate Trust yesterday that they were up against all of this, chain lockdown, and they didn't have anything to stop it. Even when they had a Grimstroke, they didn't choose to go into the Aghanim Shard. So they kind of felt at the mercy of a lot of this early aggression. Abaddon, though, he's a very good way to be able to stop that. Although, as long as Puck gets the Waning Rift onto him, he's going to have not necessarily the greatest level of impact. So I wonder what they're going to go with their last pick overall, because there aren't exactly any position ones outside of the Spectre, and let's be real, that's not really a hero that's picked these days, that provide vision, provide that ability to find the Abaddon on the back line. So keen to see what Execration choose to go for. And similar note, UDV as well. Let's have a look at what's banned. We've got no Tiny, no Anti-Mage, no TA, no Medusa, no Weaver, no Morphling. So what are the big ones left? Chaos Knight, Terrorblade,
Dire team
probably the
ban.
big two, right? Razor, that's removed from the pool as well. So, yeah, well, what do you rate could slip on through? Because it is very open, right? Like, there's nothing that screams out, this is the carry to pick this game so far.
Yeah, I guess the main thing to look at when it's kind of at that stage when there's no carry that really
10
screams out is what are the
remaining.
flaws? What do they need to cover with this carry?
Hmm.
5 seconds
So, I mean, both
remaining.
teams don't have great tower push outside of maybe Execrations are a little bit stronger with the Dragon Knight being able to be used, of course, with the Elder Dragon form. You also have to consider what is going to pair better with the support in the lane. So, a melee support for UDV means
Radiant team
maybe
ban.
arranged is a little bit more likely. Bane being arranged, you can probably go for something that's a little bit more melee oriented. But it
Dire
is still
team pick.
very open across the board. I got instant catch for the puck. I'm kind of thinking, like, are they just going to Chaos Knight? I really like Chaos Knight across the board for a lot of these teams. Probably
Radiant
more
team
so
pick.
for
Luna.
Execration. Huh? I mean, it does fit that thing that's a little bit squishier than an Abaddon protects quite well, so I like it in that aspect. In terms of like what's going to have the late game impact, there's no Terrorblade, so I see that sort of counter coming through.
10 seconds
Give me
remaining.
the CK. Why not?
Yeah, I'm happy with the CK.
5
I think
seconds
Execration,
remaining.
they don't need a way really to take towers. You got that with the Dragon Knight. You'd like a melee carry, someone that's able to get on top of the Luna. Lifestealer actually looks pretty good as well. I would
Yeah,
not hate the Lifestealer at all.
it's decent.
It's
I was about to
decent,
say
you know.
the only
My,
thing.
my my pick's a little bit better. You know, shut up, Aries.
The only thing is like I was about to say it's got a little bit of danger of being kited around, but actually that's wrong because basically only the Storm Spirit is going to get not kited. Sorry, is going to be able to kite him. Everything else is kind of like a lamb to the slaughter, basically. Yeah, the rage means you don't have to worry as much about the Luna. Fight very easily into the Sand King. There's a vehicle with the puck. Don't hate it.
I think the maybe even considering if a Juggernaut's a potential, but that hero is quite
Bone Druid?
arse. I'm sure Palos can play it.
Man, please don't mention that Juggernaut hero. I
I
swear,
know.
the last 10 games in my pubs have all been losses because of people that just don't know how to play Juggernaut.
Oh
And
well, it's trash right now. Even people that know how to play it, trying to pick it up in pro games, just seem to struggle with it. Like the hero, I really think the hero sucks because of all these. One, the supports can get so farmed. So we see the Ghost Scepters, we see the Yules, and all the defensive items that can protect you. But Execration, they go a different route. A route that gives them a lot more team fight presence with the Chronosphere.
Yeah, something as well that can catch an abandoned side of the Chronosphere. He's not going to be able to do jack in terms of healing. And even if he's not caught, right, you're still stunned. You're still locked in place on a Storm Spirit. So you might be able to get an Aphotic Shield and the like off, but it's not actually going to do too much to be able to protect against the damage that is eventually going to be coming out from Palace. So some interesting stuff. I would say the first three picks on both sides were pretty damn obvious. It just seems like that's the avenue that a lot of teams like to go for. But these last two, pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I like the Faceless Void or not, because I think the matchup versus Luna can go back and forth, because I think Luna is a hero that can group up with your team very early on. You're not cooldown reliant. You excel at being able to take towers. And the Faceless Void doesn't like to play in these heroes that don't care about cooldowns and take your objectives, because that hero needs a lot to come online. But the Void late game gets on the Luna. I think late game is a very good matchup versus her, so it's just who can excel in their kind of power spike in this game.
I'm also just thinking about the laning phase as well. Like Faceless Void into a Sand King is pretty annoying. Just because you've got eventually he probably wants to max out the Sandstorm, just the 1 point in the Caustic Finale when he's going up against a lot of these little tradey things. You don't need to get the stun super early on. So Faceless Void, kind of like when he goes up against a Venomancer, for example, it's going up against a lot of this little slow ticking damage because you don't get value out of the time walk. So Sandstorm, you're kind of forced to stay there to get any kind of last hits happening. So I wonder if they're going to go for any kind of shenanigans where he doesn't have to actually lane into it and you can look to pull the lane a little bit more.
That is true, but I do think time dilation is a very good laning ability, and Sand King, you're going to have these on cooldown. So I feel like you can kind of play aggressive with the Bane.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
I think it's honestly one of Faceless Void's best toolkits, because it's been buffed over time to a stage where often you were avoiding the time dilation level, but in particular lanes, and I think especially into a Hoodwink Sand King, like that is a lane where you want the time dilation.
30 seconds to battle.
I'm a fan of time dilation. I mean, even just the value point, right? It's still pretty good. 8 seconds of the duration there. It's the definition of a value point, I would say. And with the cooldown, it syncs up relatively well with what Sandstorm's going to be relatively early on. So, yeah, I don't hate it. Alos has to make sure that he's not AFK, though.
Gee, I don't know about that, my guy. You're venturing a little bit too far over the line, and Bob gets our first blood of the game. And well, you love to give it over to the puck as well. A position 2 always will thrive with the extra gold.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's a little bit ambitious coming forward there. Palace was forced to go into the 1 point in the time walk. He was caught watching what the attempt was happening to the rest of the team. Didn't notice that the Sand King and the Hoodwink were bopping him a little bit. So it means he has to play a little bit more defensive to start things off. Not going to get that time dilation value point for the super early game.
So we'll see. Like, I do also agree that I think this is a lane that they can really bully the Void, because he's pretty weak at this stage. So I think it's going to be very volatile how Palace plays this bottom lane.
Yeah, Rapido, he's still holding on to his points. He's not 100% sure, because you do and you don't want to kind of push this lane out a little bit, right? As they get the double stun off. Double stun into a double stun. Nicely done.
Oh, look at all the damage they just dish out like that. If they can keep doing that on Lucifer and Repeater, then they'd have to be very happy with this lane. We also saw, this combo prior in their series victory, and they've looked very comfortable on it. It was the second game where we got the Hoodwink Sand King. In game 1, it was the Hoodwink and the Dragon Knight. So Lucifer, 3 games in a row, he's playing the little squirrel.
Yeah, it was against the Razor both times as well, and he did a great job at making sure that the static link didn't really have too much of an impact for the laning stage. If I'm Vincenzo after that, I would ask for exactly what's just starting to happen. I'd be like, cut these trees. Don't make it that the Hoodwink ever has an easy option for the Bushwhack.
Well, top lane, Luna's in trouble. Arrow lands, Shanks and Tino combined together, showing that this Dragon Knight and Mirana combo is going to prove to be issues through the early stage in particular, and we'll see if that continues on if they have a good start.
Yeah, very early on, it is going to be an advantageous spot for the DK and the Mirana, right? It's still a 12-second cooldown on the Aphotic Shield when it's just at level 1. You've got level 2 already on both of these other heroes, so it's a lot of early aggression that you could look to get in here. And Mirana, one of the better heroes at just being able to harass out an Abaddon. Going for that Blightstone build early on. You easily outrange a Luna as well, so Shanks, he's just going to be looking to go for the right-click trades any chance that he can get.
Trying to see if they blocked any of the camps as well for the Mirana, but not going to be the case. How would you ideally like to see Shanks play this early game as well, though? Because you did mention he's going to have a pretty good time against the Abaddon in regards to just trading and dealing with him, but could we see rotations to bot to try and enable the Faceless Void early, or maybe to Puck's lane once he gets 6? So speaking about Puck, Bob falling lower and lower. Actually wants the man fight with the orb coming up shortly, but JG thinks otherwise about staying his ground.
I want to see Shanks maybe just putting a little bit more harassing onto Teehee, forcing him to waste a lot of that mana, and well, they actually get an arrow plus a Dragon Tail in onto him, and he might die here. Still, again, those early levels are going to end up costing him probably Rumble right click.
Oh, D! Oh, he just got the shield off. Shanks, so he's at one more leap charge to get away, and all this, while that was going on, Ken was just freely beating to Tino, so the Dragon Knight takes a lot of damage throughout that.
But now I feel like the important thing is, actually, was JG able to... Okay, he was able to go back and get that bounty rune, so means that he can continue to lane up here into Bob. I was going to say the way that I would look to play it if I'm the Mirana is look to try and get a kill, didn't end up happening, and then make a rotation towards that top river rune to make sure that that one's secured for the team. Bob,
Oh,
like going to be able to get both here.
I was just watching some brawling going on down bottom, and Palos, he wasn't getting lucky with any bashes. Of course, he only has 1 point in it, but wasn't getting any lucky, and then he didn't A-click. Well, the Nightmare was on him. He kind of turned the aggro from the Hoodwink to himself, so a bit awkward there from Palos. Oh, look at this rotation. All right, Vincenzo. They're going to go for... Oh, that is the worst timing. Really nicely done, but still Rapido might be in trouble. The bash is out. Shanks only got 1 point in the Starstorm. The damage is not enough, and Rapido just limps back to the tier 1 tower.
Again, some really nice laning coming through from
Mid lane, though,
UDV there.
Bob, he's trying to kill off JG. Tier's going to look to show up. He doesn't have enough mana, though, for the Aphotic Shield, and maybe Bob's going to stick around. Yeah, he will. That kill gives him enough experience for the level 6. He wants a high 5 before he kills off Teehee, but he won't get that. What he will get, though, is a double kill and on his way to a beautiful game 1.
You have to wonder if, like, the lane has gone pretty well for the bottom side of the map here for UDV. The thing is, though, you can't exactly leave this Sand King in this lane. Like, he's not quite at that safe point yet. He's got a little bit of regen, I suppose, and the braces help somewhat, but I feel like you need to be certainly trying to secure these power runes a little bit more. That's what enabled Puck to go for that and get the double kill, is that he was able to get both of the water runes without too much contestation. I was saying Mirana needed to rotate to make sure that that didn't happen, that the Storm Spirit didn't get any runes, and Puck was able to do it on his own.
And now you have a Puck that's... What about 700 net?
Blood, plus 2 other kills.
Yeah, apologies as well, as Tino and Shanks combined together get another kill top, and this is with the catapult timing. Of course, Tino doesn't have ultimate, but if he shoves in the lane, it still will be a lot of damage on the tower.
Yeah, and Shanks doing a couple of rolls here, trying to and steal away the bounty route. Doesn't end up happening, but also gives all of the experience over to Tino from this wave. Once he takes down the siege creep, it'll be his level 6, so... Still deciding to come back top here is the Luna. I wonder if he's going to immediately look to try and commit here, because this is not a kill lane for the Luna at all. Even Puck rotating up top with a Dream Call seems like the case.
What's Bob got coming out in the core? Is it treads?
Behold!
I don't know if you'll have that
Just a null talisman.
Okay, there we go. Son's gonna TP straight away. Looks like they're happy with forcing the rotation, but JG with the arcane rune. Looks like this is gonna be enough to be able to bring Tino down, although he's out of mana, and now Bob flies over the tree line. A coil to hold them back, so Tino's okay, but the rest of UDV, they're in shambles. They're even gonna force Lucify to top just in case Bob considers diving. Starting to trail to the backline, seeing if he can run into JG, but the Storm Spirit, nice positioning from himself, will be okay.
JG's out of mana though, so it kind of feels like he's somewhat wasted up here. At least he's got the clarity and the arcane rune still ticking, but this is a lot of space being given over to a Faceless Void, so I feel like even though they only got the one kill out of that rotation and Dreamcall being popped, you don't take the tower, but Faceless Void's farming, so you're generally okay with it.
What do you feel like is the build lately on the Faceless Voids? Because I haven't really seen the hero much. I think really the only region that I see playing it is China.
I think Western Europe plays it a little bit,
Okay.
but I'm honestly not too sure. I'm not the biggest Faceless Void enjoyer. To me, it feels like you just need to go all in onto this early aggression. So, you know, the Mask of Madness into the Maelstrom both allows you to farm and fight pretty effectively. Probably BKB beyond that, because even though they've been playing pretty well around the Nightmare so far, it's going to get to the stage where you need a BKB to be able to contest against 4 different stuns and mini stuns and lockdown and magic damage that's going to burst through. You don't want to hit the greatest Chronosphere and then just be stunned up for a big portion of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much only magic damage until Luna gets a couple of items. One of the few heroes that have this hybrid damage, along with maybe someone like the Gyrocopter, but we do see Luna. It looks like she's going to be forced back into the jungle, but Radiant, they already have eyes on Ken, so they are aware of this.
Tino, he's been able to pop the second Elder Dragon form, trying to put some more pressure onto the top side, and they see exactly where the Luna is farming as well. So they know that they're feeling relatively safe to be able to try and take this one. Teehee just trying to do his best to delay the inevitable. Although Tino coming up towards the top side with that Sandstorm leveled up, like I was talking about in the laning stage, to be able to lessen the Faceless Void's farming impact is also a great tool at being able to prevent the push from happening.
Radiant, they're getting pretty aggressive under the T1 tower, trying to deal with the high ground, which JG tries to penalize. Off of the side, though, Hoodwink's going to catch the arrow. So it looks like it will be a 1-for-1 trade. I don't know if they have the damage now, especially with Teehee showing up to kill off the Storm. Bob actually doesn't jaunt away. JG doesn't have the greatest mana pool to work with at the moment. So Bob's going to be okay.
I feel like if he jaunted, he probably would have died to the Luna, actually, so it's okay. Seems a little crazy when you look at it immediately, but I suppose the Storm Spirit was kind of low on mana, so he wasn't at too much danger of dying.
So was really hoping to see Execration play with that Elder Dragon form, which was just completely wasted as in the river. JG, this is a big kill if they can give it over the Storm Spirit, and he'll get it. The lowest net worth out of the cores. It's only 195 gold injected into the bank, but you'll take anything at this stage for JG.
Yeah, he lucked out being able to get the Fairy's Trinket as well, so he's got that coming out to him soon. He'll need to get active quite shortly, though, because, again, Faceless Void has hit the first of those aggressive fighting style of items. With the Chronosphere up and available and the Mask of Madness, maybe want to wait until he gets the Javelin, just because you're going to get a ton of procs out of it, but certainly could look to make a rotation if he felt the desire to. But instead of just pushing on the top side, they're going to move towards the bot. And actually, it might even go for both at the same time. You've got a Siege Creep wave coming.
Yeah, you got Elder Dragon form as well. So put pressure on both the lanes, force reactions bottom, and then maybe look to top, and Palace is going to do that. I really want to see Execration smoke with the team top, especially Bob. You got Chrono, you got Coil, you got Elder Dragon form. You're strong right now, and UDV is not.
Baiting. They're baiting.
They're in trouble, though. Palace, let's see if we can get a melty Chrono. He'll do just that, but it doesn't matter. Tino's going to tick out to the damage, and Palace... What was the play there? Mask of Man is under the tower. And of course, the well-deserved tips as Palace makes a slight mistake. Looks like Execration still going to bring Bob and Vincenzo top. JG very hesitant about trying to cancel out the Fiend script. So we'll be, in the end, a 3-for-2 across the map as Lucify gets the kill on Shanks, I think, down bottom.
It's literally just the difference of
Radiant's
like
bottom tower
1
is
second
under
from being able to comfortably win that
Okay,
team fight or
coil out
not.
top. Bob. Oh, that's he's just already level 10 on Bob, so maxed out orb and a waning rift is just a
Dire's top
stupid
tower
amount of
is under
damage.
attack.
I was considering going for the Nightmare onto the cart, but unfortunately still had a second left on the cooldown, so the push is going to be stalled again. First team to actually take a tower is going to be UDV on that bottom
Well,
side.
blink reveal from
Radiant structures
Rapido.
are fortified.
Nothing will come of it. Maybe his own death, actually. He's under a sentry, and Jesus, Bob, what's going on? So much damage with this park.
We know Bob, he's the definition of feast or famine, right? Like, he just does great or not so much. And he's clearly feeling himself today as they don't even get the deny onto the mid lane. So they'll look to move again up towards the top side. Palace, just like 1 centimeter away from catching the tower in that chronosphere as well, which would have prevented the damage in onto him. And just 1 second too late meant that the epicenter finished the channel. So he was taking a ton of that damage while in the chronosphere.
So even though UDV are about to lose 2 T1 towers in kind of about a 2-minute span, there's still silver linings with how farmed Luna was. It was top of the net worth before Bob got the tower kill.
I feel like you're certainly much more capable of rallying around a Luna, right? Like you don't need the Eclipse. The Eclipse is like a little bit of a bonus to have.
Oh
whereas
no, Shanks. There's no way he gets out of this. JJ still got some mana to play with. He leaped as soon as Rapido tried to burrow, but I think the important thing is that Shanks, he tanks the game. You have Bob that gets out. That would have been a huge streak if you could claim.
Yeah, absolutely. It draws a lot of people up towards the top side of the map, and Faceless Void, he's working on his Maelstrom. I feel like they're going to make their next sort of play around that timing of the Maelstrom coming through from the Faceless Void. It was close to being a fantastic gank previously on the top side, right? It just turned out not so much. So I think they're not going to be too discouraged with how that previous attempt went.
I'll show them what
Or to he just eating an arrow will be okay. Tino still without the blink. It's maybe a little bit later than what the Dragonite would be hoping for.
You got the Dragonlance and the Mask of Madness on the Luna, and I feel like when you're being backed up by a Baden, then that's going to be pretty effective as well. Just being able to sustain yourself through a lot of these engagements. Just wanting to see where is the Faceless Void. If the Faceless Void is on the map, you can make a movement onto the map because like a lot of these ganks aren't going to work unless he's there. Although they're going to go for one. Smoke coming through from the Puck and Mirana, feeling like they can just take out people pretty reliably. This really deep Observer Ward is going to catch out Lucify.
Was a smoke though from Execration, so it's not really giving them much across the map. They're not really going to get any map control off it. Maybe just taking some camps through the northern jungle.
It is that Maelstrom finished up though for Palace, so it's a kill that it's not the greatest, but it forces people to defend up on the top side. JG wisely not using his TP to get there. He's just standing inside the trees. Again, the Faceless Void just revealed himself around there, so you can't afford to just walk on into the lane and be too greedy about it. See exactly where he is, underneath the wards. He goes quickly, takes the creep wave, and gonna go for a smoke, or maybe just even the Blink Dagger usage into where they would know he's farming. Like, this Observer Ward tells you everything, even though you can't exactly see him on the map.
It's a nice read though for UDV, just recognizing that as soon as they TP'd in, Palos, he backed out of any aggressive position that he was, so UDV, they still actually thinking about catching out the Faceless Void. They have this ward that's soon to see him.
And just continuing to happily farm. You know, you've got a couple of stacked camps for him, and looking to prioritize a lot of his farm in the mid lane. This team kind of playing around him a little bit, although they catch out the Abaddon first. Borrowed time not going to be available, and they didn't really use any big cooldowns to be able to get that one proc. So I wonder if immediately they're going to look to go for a kill.
Palos,
Yeah.
all right. Corona wants a 2. If you can deal with the hoodwink, then Vincenzo will have the full control, but it doesn't matter because Rapido instant cancel in the Burrow Strike, and no one's died on UDV. So you wasted the Chronosphere, but can you get away with your own lives? Looks like that's not the case. Tino and Shanks providing the control, Bob the follow-up throughout the lane. So they'll get rid of Luzify, although he's being such a pesky hero to deal with. The evade on the higher ground, but they've still got the vision.
I thought he might try for the sharpshooter to just bounce him down to the low ground there, but not going to have the luxury of doing so with that observer ward up there. But it is still some damage being put into this tower. It's a 2-for-1 trade. So I feel like that's a much better use out of the Chronosphere than last time. You have to keep in mind, though, Luna did not join in on any of that. Was able to farm up a couple of creep waves in the mid lane, take a stack, take another ancient set for herself again. She's got that BKB available for herself if she wants to use it to join the next team fight. You know there's no Chrono. You know there's no Dream Call for a little bit. There's no Moonlight Shadow. There's no Fiend's Grip. Feels like the time to go for UDV.
Man, they're smoking
for sure.
instantly. Abba has to be perfect with his position. They can blow up the Luna. Actually gonna smoke.
I don't know if they have the tools to be able to blow up the Luna, to be honest. Like, she's pretty tanky. She's got the BKB. Now's the time for me, if I'm UDV, to be the one who's getting aggressive. Just gonna bait him in the mid lane. Just look at Teehee right behind him.
Along the cooldowns. Yeah, a bit too long.
Coil's back up, but that's about it.
If you can maybe force the Aphotic Shield early, but 6-second cooldown, it's very small window to try and make a play, and Void's not even thinking about showing up without BKB, so they're going to jump Tino before it's Execration starting the fight. Tino falls under the pump as Ken. Here we go. This is beautiful stuff from UDV as soon as they hit a small timing.
Going to try and cut the wave on Bob to prevent a lot of that. The borrowed time is popped here as well, but Ken... He's got the real objective that he's looking for in that tier 1 tower. It doesn't open too much of the map. You're a Luna. You don't have any natural escapes, so you're not one of those heroes that loves to just be farming on the other side of the map. They've actually found out Luzify here with the Fiend's Grip. It's a big cooldown, big ultimate wasted, and it's just very easily to be cancelled out. It's not like a Mirana does the most damage at this stage of the game.
So how do they deal with the Abaddon? Because it seems like he's been a pretty big issue for Execration through the past 4 minutes or so.
Needed that coin.
Silence, basically, is the way that you do it. And right now, they've only really got it on the Waning Rift. I think I saw an Orchid queued up previously, but it's been removed from both quick buys, from Storm and the Puck. But honestly... I don't like Orchid on Puck these days, but I feel like it's almost necessary against an Abaddon when you have no one else that really likes to go for that silence, unless you get really lucky with like a Mindbreaker or something.
I think it also might be onto Palos with the Chrono. If he can perfectly position, it's also going to come down to vision and if where you see the Abaddon, because it's not going to be easy if you don't have an Observer Ward set up by the team fight location. So all eyes on Execration, how they can really deal with that. Bob's going to be targeting Storm in the river. Now Teehee's not nearby at the moment, with the arrow flying down from the south. They'll lose JG and now UDV. I don't think they can stick around. Repeater's going to try and move towards Teehee, but they've got to be cautious if they group up. With Palos showing up now, the threat of the Chronosphere is too much for them to bear, so they're just going to Delta split away. Teehee under the pump from Palos and Shanks. Meanwhile, they also have... looks like the Hoodwink that's going to be killed off. Bob with the finishing blow, and in the end, a 4-for-0 is Execration. They don't even need the Chrono. That's a big fight for them. Only Coil used, so not a much kind of forced out in regards to cooldowns.
Yeah, and there's a DD right in front of the Roche pit. I wonder if they might even look to consider that one. Their vision look like at the moment. They're pinging exactly where the Luna is farming as a result of this super deep Observer Ward between the tier 2 and 3 towers. So they know that that's likely where Luna's going to continue to move
Palos
towards.
could go. He's got Mirana to follow up. They have to kill the creeps though for the arrow. Just a bit shy. Man, dude, that baits me so often. That
I know.
one...
I know. I like that they changed the tanking though. It was so useless when you had to full on commit. And it was
without a
like, well,
doubt.
why does this hero have to completely commit his ultimate when you had, I think at the time the biggest hero for it were like the Pango and the Dark Willow, right? Where you could just pump fake the ultimate charge.
Yeah, it's a must change and a big reason of why we kind of see him viable. JG. Who've they caught out? Bob's in trouble. Yo, Rapido. That's a beautiful way to start. And what do you do now if you're Execration? The calls to commit to the pit. Rapido jumps. They're going to land onto the Bane, but the Age is snagged up from Palos. So they just look to get out. Got the Chrono if you want to turn it around, but maybe lacking the damage without Bob. So they're happy with the, I guess, kind of trading some of the heroes for Roshan.
It's a pretty big objective. I know you don't want to obviously give up the puck, but it was a very sacrificial play that Bob did there. One could call it feeding, but I think it was just necessary.
He tried to take the Arcane Rune away from JG, but looks like with all the magical damage raining down, Ken dropping the beams, and he's up to a killing spree. This Luna continuing to have a pretty solid game. 3-2-1, top of the net worth.
See, now that's feeding. That's the difference, right? The puck was making space for them to attempt Roshan. There's no real reason for you to be there on your own away from the rest of the team when they weren't revealed on the map at the time, right? So it was, of course, a shame that Bob had to give up that 8-kill streak, but he did the right thing for his team. He needed to make sure that mid lane was pushed out. It revealed the positioning of UDV, and it allowed them to finish that Roshan. So really, Faceless Void, he's trying to finish up that... got level 18 now, actually, so they might look to go for an attempt here, considering they know that actually the Epicenter not quite as available, but you don't have the Eclipse, and I feel like that's pretty damn impactful as well. Needing to pop the BKB for the first life on the Faceless Void means that you're probably going to need to use the Epicenter to take him down.
Do you think they... Can the Void get enough gold in... maybe like 2 minutes 30 to get Scardy, then fight with Scardy and a little bit of Aegis timing left?
Probably. My thing is, though, that Luna's probably going to get the farm even faster in that period, and she's going to get her own Scardy. She's going to be a lot tankier. She's going to have level 20 as well, which is always, you know, a pain to have to test into. So I think this is the right choice to just go for the smoke now, play around the rest of the team as... Night Shadow popped. Bob wisely not revealing on the lane as well, so they're not completely aware of this, but they know that if you're not revealing on the map and you've got the Aegis, you're likely to be going for some kind of aggressive play. It's Teehee that puts himself out there first, of course, because he's got the borrowed time. They see exactly where he is on the high ground.
Well, Tino's going to jump. They can get rid of Pepito, but an instant Aphotic Shield, beautifully played from Teehee, just breaks the combo in half, and Execration... That was a freshly placed ward though on the cliff side, so now this will give them an opportunity to start to control Dire's triangle.
Yeah, that's typically what you want to do when you've got the Aegis anyway, right? Get vision control, take away the places that the enemy want to be farming. And again, like I was saying before about the Luna, you're not comfortable in farming inside the enemy triangle. It's just, you don't have the tools to do so. You're a pretty squishy hero. And you're up against a Faceless Void, so you've got that TP cancel just with your time lock if you get caught out in the wrong place at the wrong time.
I think the concern is, we kind of spoke about it in the draft, but like Faceless Void late game versus the Luna is something I'd be very worried about. And it's 25 minutes in, but I feel like if it continues at the state we're at, then Void will be very happy to go late.
Palos, he's TPing.
Smoking across the map. See if they can get there straight away. Palos is playing very aggressively before the team can show up. They've been able to catch up the Storm Spirit though. It's going to be a mighty world of pain as Palos just drops a solo Chronosphere with the arrow follow-up. T might be in trouble now afterwards once inside the Chrono AoE, but that's not going to be the case. Down to the southern side, they've caught a little bit of glimpse of Ken, but they won't continue the chase. It's such a messy fight. 2 fights in itself, splitting in half. But who are they going to be able to kill down? Still trying to chase Teehee in the small camp. They'll secure the Abaddon. Now back to the lane. The remnants of the tier 1 towers where Tino will be killed off. But the rest of UDV, they're out. Ken, a BKB, TP, Rapido. Looked like he cancelled his own.
Yeah, I think so as well. I mean, like, what is happening? How is he going ahead and dying? So that's going to be another kill fed over to Execration. They're getting pretty good value out of this Aegis, right? Kills onto the Storm Spirit. He's still suffering
told
in terms of
they
the net
fetch
worth.
a reasonable
Sitting down there
price.
just above what a Mirana's been able to acquire at this stage, and it's actually a Aghanim Scepter for Shanks that he's got. So he's dishing out a good amount of damage. I feel like where a lot of these Miranas tend to fall off when it comes to the later stages of the game in terms of your damage component, but
Top lane?
Dire's bottom tower
I mean,
is
it's
under
Aegis
attack.
was expiring in 10 seconds. Ooh,
Dire's middle tower
GG.
is under attack.
You think it
Palace
falls
will
a...
be fine.
Yeah, I guess Mirana's nearby.
They also have that level 15 Moonlight Shadow talent, which is pretty effective against a Luna as well. And now just wanting to wait for the Skadi pick up for himself on the Void. So going for the attack speed during the Chronosphere, just wanting to maximize the procs that you can get.
They're looking to go though on UDV. They know the Chronosphere's still on cooldown, so it's fight time. Long zip in. Onto Bob with the instant phase shift. Bob's out of there. So smoke completely thwarted, but maybe UDV is looking to trail to the triangle. Rapido finds a jump. It's just a Bane. A quick and easy kill, but Execration, as soon as they get confirmation that UDV are continuing this fight, they're just going to look to get out.
That was deliberate.
Radiant's middle
Bane
tower
put his
is
life
under
on the
attack.
line there just to make sure that there was
You
complete
don't get to
reveal.
walk
Allow
away
Bob
from
and
this.
Palace.
I know
to
the
continue
Abaddon's away
farming.
from Ken, but they might just be able to keep him alive at BKB the nick of time. Ken's gonna stand his ground for the Fiend's Grip out of the last second! Oh, Vincenzo, that's perfect! Nightmares, the Abaddon then controls the Luna, and after that, UDV are just crumbling. They get one kill, but it doesn't even matter. 4 down, and JG, the sole survivor for the moment. But Bob lacking the control. Man, that was perfect! Oh, Vincenzo.
Yeah,
Radiant are
everything
scanning.
about that last minute or two sequence from Vincenzo was great, right? He scouted out the fact that they went for that smoke play, offered his life up, knowing he had the buyback, baited them into a team fight, and then hits the perfect Nightmare Fiend's Grip combination to ensure that they win the fight.
Dire's
And now,
bottom
how do you
tower
stop
is
this? I
under
mean, you
attack.
got a Storm Spirit, I
Has
suppose, but
fallen.
the Chrono, you have to be a little bit careful about going for these super deep zip plays.
Zip zap.
It's now Tino's going to be up to BKB. What are the items? 1400 gold after the Skadi was completed for the Faceless Void. Bob almost
The
has...
itemization. Yeah, the Aeon Disc is what I'm looking at, right? Both on him and the Mirana. I was seeing if Vincenzo would look to go for it, but he's a 5, right? So you probably don't have that same luxury. You could certainly look to buy out the cloak. A lot of the damage is still magical, right? So a lot of what UDV are able to dish out to you is still very burst-oriented, right? Storm Spirit at the start of team fights, Epicenter, Eclipse. So you just want to be able to dodge the brunt of that. And I feel like that's what Aeon Disc on a Mirana and a Puck is a great
Dire's
tool at being able to
bottom
do that.
tower is under attack.
Now this is really cool from Radiant. They had that lane ward behind the tier 2. So they know... Oh no, they missed the burrow, and all of Execration have moved to top. Core's going to be off the mark, but it doesn't matter. With 5 heroes swarming Rapido in the tree line, they'll kill off the position 3 Sand King and then maybe look to transition this into the tier 2.
And the immediate attempt to recover base there by the Sand King, just drawing lines in the mid and bottom lanes, saying, hey, I made all this space for you. Now start to push some of these
Well,
other lanes
Ken.
out. Tino actually runs into Ken here. Ken should know. He was body blocked.
Yeah, I mean, he can always
Bad
BKB
trying to run.
TP out, but he's taking a lot of damage. That chain control. Ken doesn't really have much life, so Palos gets the Chrono at the last second. Oh no, the vision. That is what has enabled Execration through these past minute. It set them up for the kill top with that ward behind the tower, and then the Moonlight Shadow. Tino, so we could move on, find the Luna, and all of a sudden, 12,000 net worth lead, and Bob, he might be able to get another kill. The Hoodwink, no answer. They even have a Fiend's Grip on the side, so maybe Bob will turn back. Tino's gonna try and close the distance, and the Spider Legs can help out. As Execration just have their number through the mid game. Look at Bob! What's this, my guy? They're tier 4 towers.
A
He doesn't-
coil.
Oh, they're gonna try and hold back the Sand King so he doesn't burrow in the tree line, but DK has to respect this. Or maybe not, and BKB gets rid of the Spirit Vessel. And Bob's gonna try and TP out JG. Is he gonna cancel? He does. Vortex at the last second. He might be able to pop the A on disc, or maybe he doesn't even need it. Looks like, unfortunately, the remnants dropped, and Bob will go down.
Yeah, unfortunately for Bob, his vitality booster is still on the courier. He had a full inventory at the time, so wasn't even able to go for that cheeky little play. Still, though, 2 buybacks, triple kill for Bob, diving tier 4 towers, making more space for Palace to continue to farm. He's getting close to a Lincoln Sphere for himself, so it's going to be very nice at stopping the Sand King. Initiation in onto him. The Storm Spirit Zip means that he can preserve that BKB for when the Eclipse is looking to be used. So, yeah, Execration. Like they're executing quite effectively. Roshan's up again as well as he makes the TP rotation towards the top side of the map. First ones to know about it, though, are going to be UDV, although immediately after, the Arrow scouting that one out. Selling the wand, buying up the Lincoln Sphere for Palace, so he's ready.
Chrono's on cooldown. Can they do this, though?
Oh, no! Oh, the Arrow!
Okay. Well, there you go. Now they can't roast, so it's going to give Execration a little bit of time. Puck up in 10, Chrono up in 7.
Just trying to delay things until they got the puck back alive and the Dream Coil, sorry, the Chronosphere available.
Alright, they jump in the lane.
Giving his life away.
It's not a bad kill. 70 seconds without the Marana. Palace is... Wait, he's on the high ground. They've run into the Luna, and Tihi's on top as well, but they've already used the Aphotic Shield, so there won't be a cancel to the Fiend Script, but on the backline, Palace finds a huge Chronosphere, controlling all of the viable heroes that UDV need to turn this fight back around. As now it's just, how many heroes can we catch up before they make it away safely, and well, an extra one's down. Rapido soon to fall as well, is just hiding under the cover of the Sandstorm. But
getting away then.
no, not for long.
Okay. Time dilation preventing the blink prior to that point. So, yeah. Just great team fighting coming out here from Execration, right? It's going to lead into the Roshan. Fought 3 inside the Chronosphere. Again, Chenzo on point with who he's able to lock down during a lot of these engagements.
This is now a pretty tricky position to get back in if you're UDV. You have 20,000 deficit with Aegis, Agshard, now given over to Execration. We haven't really seen any signs of life for Dai lately either.
It'll be Palace that ends up picking it up, so a little bit of extra time. What cast range is always pretty nice, just for the farming aspect. You can even look now that you've got the Lincolns as well to bait out a few of these single target stuns that they've got on UDV's side. But we saw it when it was up against what's the cast that I was doing with Lyrical, but it was the SMG game, I believe, where by picking up the Aghanim Scepter, it was against an anti-mage. It meant that he wasn't really able to use the counter spell to be able to dodge out any of those electric vortexes. Well, you're going to be able to dodge the Lincoln Sphere now.
I've been trouble at the moment. Vincenzo, beautiful timing in the Nightmare. Gives Palace at least a second to stand his ground. Now with the BKB out, he's still getting controlled. He doesn't have the Chrono to lock anyone down. In Execration, they're a little bit hesitant until Tino jumps in, runs into Rapido, a quick and easy kill. And now the Fiend Script's out as well with the Aphotic Shield. Still on cooldown, but it's going to rely on JG. It's a huge Vortex as Execration. They grouped up as 3, but the damage... it might be lacking for Ken. Oh no! The Chrono to end the game, clipping 3. Buybacks are lacking. Rapido, as soon to be dieback on himself underneath the tier 4 towers. As Execration looking like they'll be able to take out game 1 here to start the night.
Some really good gameplay coming through all across the board from Execration. I don't think UDV played terribly. I think that Execration just read them every step of the way, as well as having that superior laning stage, all off the back of Bob, ending 17, 2, and 13. So when you're getting 30 kills a game, or involved in that many, you know you've done a good job.
Oh, without a doubt. I think also a big thing, again, is just the vision that Execration had on the map. I think the observer wards that was placed from Shanks and Vincenzo was on point. It really helped out with a lot of their farming patterns and how they could set up their ganks. And also that comes back to kind of the Mirana. We mentioned in the draft that the first 3 picks were kind of very similar. You've got DK Mirana and then Sand King Hoodwink. Like both these heroes want to jump in, stun, have a follow-up and just burst heroes down. But Mirana just showing that she has a little bit more utility in a way with the Moonlight Shadow that proved to be a big reason why they could be able to start these fights.
Yeah, when leading into that last pick of the overall draft, I was talking about what hero as a position 1, which was all they had left to pick, would be able to provide the vision. Well, turns out you just need supports that are able to get that super deep vision out, so you know exactly where the Abaddon is at all times. The only time I think that they didn't have that was one of the first ganks that they made as a full team around the mid lane, and it just so happened that they lucked out and the Abaddon wasn't right there next to the Luna, who they caught out at the time. So and there's a little bit of luck that goes into a lot of this, but the end of the day, Execration, they played off their vision very well. Laning stages, pretty effective, and Palos, basically only one not so great Chronosphere. So just good performances across the board from which we would come to expect from this team, who looked solid all throughout the DPC, taking games off of Boom, taking games off of a lot of these other tier 1 teams. So yeah, business as usual for Execration. And well, that's game 1. See if they're able to continue keeping the momentum up.
Yeah, that's the main thing. If they can continue with this momentum heading into the second game, because UDV, they also looked very good in their series versus Patriots. So they have some recent performance to be able to play off, but it's just a question if you can set yourselves up with a solid draft for game 2. But we will find out after a short break.